What is up, people? It's the 8 to 5 trader giving you guys my trades for today. I'm trying the webcam in a different spot, so bear with me. But today, minus 79.18. It wasn't all bad, but I did trade for the most part my strategy. Today was just a bit tough for me to get follow through, and I did make a few mistakes as far as parceling out, and I made a really bad. Well, I'm not gonna say a really bad ad, but it did prematurely mess up a pretty decent trade. But we're gonna go over that. So for starters, we're going to start with ACB. I'm just going to go in order, not necessarily the time I took the trade, but price action gap down. It sold off at open, then it made the move to push back up through VWAP. It came back down. I was looking for a long position on here. I actually got decent entry, and price action popped up, and then it didn't hold, and then I ended up stopping out at break even. I felt like it was going to go down. And the only reason I went long there because I figured if it was trying to change the trend, and it ultimately just didn't work out. So I'm not upset with that. Did pretty good with that. Next one up is DKNG. DKNG. I was after trading a few of these other ones, but I was trading my strategy here. I went short. Hopefully looking for a fade back down through VWAP. The non-moving average was above VWAP, which is not necessarily every time that I look for. I really would like to see the non-moving average under VWAP, but with this move, basically I went short. I felt like this was a signal to go short, kind of how this one was. You got the two minute candles kind of side by side, indicating some indecision. It didn't want to go up, it didn't want to go down, but since it was already going up, indecision. I was expecting it to go down. So that's the same thing I was kind of expecting here, but this was a pretty solid candle. But I went short anyway, got stopped out, didn't really lose too much. I think I lost 20 bucks on that. Then I went short again, and this is when I think I racked up that probably 20. No, maybe I only racked up $8 loss and lost $20 here. But either way, I went back short, and then we ended up getting a struggle here at $50 basically. And I was looking at this kind of this symbol. I mean, the symbol. These two candlesticks. What I was looking at here. I was expecting that drop. So basically, it kept bouncing off of 50, and I was thinking to myself, if it's gonna keep bouncing off 50, it might end up going up. So I ended up covering, and the price action did end up selling off. But I'm not upset with that trade, but I am a bit disappointed that it didn't work out. It didn't go ahead and work out because it ended up stopping out. But you guys can see how it did, in fact, end up selling off later on. So that's just a missed opportunity. KNDI was one of my last trades and one of my most frustrating ones because I did have a good run on it. I think I was up 50 bucks, but then I was mentally already down. I didn't, my partialing strategy went out the window. So I went all of my buying power down on this because I've seen moves like this in the past, and I took it off of that. And we had I guess, some indecision up here. I went short. You guys can see I had 500 shares. So it touched the moving average here. I should have partialed something out, but I ended up getting $1.41 because I didn't do anything about it. Price action squeezed up, and then it finally sold off. So I was a bit disappointed about that one, but I felt like what it really came down to is not taking anything off. I didn't partial anything, which was not something I normally do, but it is what it is. LB was a very frustrating one because it was turning out good, and then I ended up getting slippage on this one. So same strategy. I'm looking for a false breakdown. In this case, price action sold off at open. I waited 5 minutes, got in on indecision. You guys can see these two wicks at the bottom here. I went long, got a partial here went up to the moving average and came down. I dropped 20 shares on that partial. I went long 68, partial out 20, stopped out at break even, and then it came down, and I got back in. I went back in long here. I think I risked $20 with a stop below this candle. And I added, once I felt the momentum coming, I added, and that's when I partialed here, thinking that we were going to get this move that happened here. I added into it. And basically it fell. And then I set my stop at 38.52. I set my stop at 38.52, and the slippage ended up filling it at 38.42. So I lost an extra $9 on that. So really, my profit loss was, I mean, my realized gain was like $15 on that, but I ended up getting slippage. And basically, this was like my first trade of the day, if I remember correctly. And basically, the rest of my trades kind of spiraled, kind of break even downhill from there because I was really frustrated about this because I ended up missing this move. It pretty much grabbed my order and probably other orders, and then it finally took the price. The market makers finally took the price up. But then, as you guys can see, he ended up throwing more indecision and coming back down. And I actually looked at this for the reverse play, but I was already out of the wrong element at the time, so I just didn't take it. LI. So LI, I think this is the one I didn't take when it threw the indecision. Either way, this is a late trade. I try not to get into the moving averages. I try not to short near the moving averages because I know orders are triggering at that spot. People that have missed the entries from earlier, they're using that as a way to get in. I've done it. Like if I missed the move up to the top, I wait till it pulls back, and then I use the moving averages to get in, to go up, and then my stop loss is below that moving average. So what happened was I saw this big drop, and I've been really good at not taking just abrupt drops like this because my thought was it's gonna just blow through this. But I went short with a stop above this spot right here on the 2 minute, and then I added into it. I should have waited to the next candle to add it into it. It doesn't always work out that way, right? On KNDI, I didn't have to do that. I got the move right away. But here, it squeezed me, and then I stopped out for a $33 loss. So I took a pretty big hit there. And then it finally threw some indecision up here at the top, which is what I could have waited for. Even though the move really didn't work out, it would have been a better trade. So that's just a missed opportunity on my front. This is the one trade I consider that I did bad on because it felt a bit FOMO-ish. Like I felt like I missed the move and I was getting in versus actually waiting for the setup of the 2 minute candles to get side by side to show me some indecision like these. Like we hit the top and it's showing some indecision and it's pivoting back the other way. See, I felt like I didn't wait for that there. So 100% all of it's my fault, but that's definitely an obvious mistake. PLTR, I'm upset about this one too because I chickened out. So same strategy. It wasn't as clean, but basically price action sold off. The strategy that I looked for, it happened on the 1 minute if I remember correctly. It wasn't fully clean though. Oh yeah, it was. So through some indecision, I could have set my stop above here, went short. I missed that because I'm looking at the 2 minute. When I look at the 2 minute, that means I had to wait somewhat for that candle to fully form. And I pretty much missed this. It blew through. So I was looking for the move back up. So after it sold off, it started to come back up. I said, okay, I'm going to wait for this candle to close. And then I'll go long if it starts to go up. So I went long. It popped up. And I didn't get out in time, but I want to say my stop was back down here, so I really only lost like $10 on it, so I didn't lose my full risk. Then I got back in after it started to push up. I got in, set my risk, I think back below here or one of these candles, and then once it started to show me the momentum, I added heavy into it, but it was so wicky, like it would wick up and down, and I really didn't want to get caught in a drop because these trend lines were somewhat showing that it could have been a short. And then that's when I got out and it popped up. Missed out on that. I think I had 260 some shares and 30-cent move. Even if I partialed out, I still could have made at least $25-30 on it. So upset about that. Then I flipped to a short. So this was not an impulsive short. So a lot of times when the strategy that I'm looking for happens, when it sells off, it comes back up. It squeezes back up because people are covering, people are taking profits, and then it comes back down. And the same thing for when it goes up, it sells off, and then it comes back up, people covering, and it may either continue to go up or go back down. So I was fully aware of what I was doing the second time around. But I shorted with my this first entry, 153 shares. The stop was right here. So, or I think maybe the top of the wick. But then I added, waited for it. It kind of got to move down, but then I didn't want to get squeezed. I really should have. I think I had 261 shares. If I had given this at least 10 cents, I definitely would have at least got a decent partial. And then I would have set my stop to break even, and then I would have got stopped out. That's normally what happens when I partial. I set my stop to break even, so I kind of get something out of it. But sometimes if it grabs my order, it'll run without me really getting the full amount of the move. So it's kind of something that you just have to play around with, and that's just a part of the art, right? But anyway, that sold off and I ended up missing out on it. But after commissions, I'm minus 120. But again, I don't think the day is bad. I really just didn't trade the strategies is good. I feel like I didn't give him some of these moves. I didn't give enough room, but it is what it is. So I'm glad that I stuck to somewhat the strategy. At least I was looking for one specific strategy or pivots and resistance and support levels, because I trade a lot off of support and resistance levels now and pivots, and also that whole false breakdown strategy. But yeah, that's what I got. Catch y'all next one. Subscribe. Peace, love, and have grace.